Hey, welcome back. Today we're going somewhere that no longer exists. A world so connected, so powerful, it vanished in 50 years. Let's go find out why.
Around 1200 BC, the world had a problem. Not one civilization, not one kingdom, not one city. Every single advanced society on Earth simultaneously began to fall apart. The Mycenaean Greeks, gone. The Hittite Empire, one of the two great superpowers of the ancient world, gone. The kingdom of Ugarit, the greatest trading city on the Mediterranean coast, gone. Egypt, the most powerful civilization in human history, nearly destroyed, never fully recovering. Within 50 years, a world that had existed for centuries simply stopped existing. Cities were burned and never rebuilt. Writing systems were forgotten. Trade networks that connected continents collapsed overnight. Populations vanished from the archaeological record as if they had never existed.
Every single ship you see behind me came from a different part of the world. Tin from Afghanistan, copper from Cyprus, grain from Egypt.
And in the ruins of one city, archaeologists found something that stopped them cold. A clay tablet, still in the kiln where it was being fired. A letter written by a king to his allies, begging for help, describing enemy ships on the horizon, cities already burning. The letter was never finished, never sent, never answered. Because before the ink could dry, the city was gone. This is the Bronze Age collapse, the greatest mystery in human history. And 3,000 years later, we still don't know what caused it.
650 tablets found in this one house. Letters to kings, trade records, and then, in the last years, desperate pleas for help. One word keeps appearing: biru, hunger.
To understand how completely this world disappeared, you first need to understand how extraordinary it was. The Bronze Age palace economies were sophisticated administrative machines. Palace complexes in Mycenaean Greece, Hittite Anatolia, and the Levantine city-states employed scribes who tracked everything in careful detail. Rations of grain, lists of craftsmen, records of tribute owed and paid. But it wasn't just organization, it was connection. Kings of Egypt, Babylon, Assyria, the Hittites, and Mycenaean palaces exchanged gifts, arranged marriages, and negotiated treaties across vast distances. Long-distance trade in tin, copper, ivory, glass, and luxury goods linked the Aegean, Anatolia, the Levant, Mesopotamia, and Egypt into one interconnected system. Think about what that means. 3,000 years ago, the world had a functioning international economy. Tin from Afghanistan, copper from Cyprus, grain from Egypt, pottery from Greece, ivory from Africa. All of it moving along established trade routes tracked by scribes, negotiated by diplomats. Through the port city of Ugarit on the Syrian coast alone, past dried fish from the Nile, Mycenaean pottery from mainland Greece, furniture crafted from Syrian wood, and copper ingots from Cyprus, all tallied on clay tablets and traded across the Mediterranean. This was not a primitive world. This was a globalized world, interconnected, sophisticated, and, as events were about to prove, dangerously fragile. The first cracks appeared around 1250 BC. Not catastrophe yet, just pressure. A series of earthquakes struck Anatolia and the Aegean around 1225 BC. Some evidence suggests an earthquake storm, multiple major quakes within just a few decades. Wars began appearing in the record. Egypt's inscriptions from around 1210 BC note invasions from the north. At the same time, the climate was changing. Sediment cores from the Mediterranean, tree ring data from Anatolia and the Levant, all pointing to the same conclusion. Rainfall dropped significantly across the entire region beginning in the late 1200s BC. Crops failed. Famine spread. The Hittite Empire, one of the two greatest powers on Earth, was running out of food. Egyptian records from this period describe sending grain shipments to the Hittites just to keep them alive. The greatest military empire of the ancient world could not feed itself. And then the Sea Peoples appeared. Nobody knows who they were. That is not a figure of speech. 3,000 years of scholarship, and we still cannot definitively identify where the Sea Peoples came from, who they were, or what drove them across the Mediterranean. Egyptian inscriptions describe a confederation of seaborne raiders who appeared seemingly from nowhere, attacked coastal cities, and shredded trade networks that had functioned for centuries. Some researchers now believe the Sea Peoples were themselves refugees, people displaced by the same drought and famine devastating everywhere else, forced to move or starve, taking what they needed from whoever had it. In other words, the mysterious invaders destroying civilization may have been people running from the collapse of their own civilization. A wave of refugees becoming a wave of destruction, each collapse creating the conditions for the next one.
This letter is being written right now. The king is asking Cyprus for help. Enemy ships on the horizon, cities already burning, it will never be finished, never sent, never answered.
Of all the cities destroyed in the Bronze Age collapse, one tells the story better than any other. Ugarit, a trading city on the Syrian coast that had existed for thousands of years. At its peak, one of the wealthiest and most connected cities in the world. Merchants from Ugarit corresponded with kings in Egypt, Assyria, Cyprus, and the Hittite Empire. Ships from Ugarit's harbor reached every corner of the Mediterranean. Then, between 1200 and 1185 BC, the letters changed. A merchant named Urtenu, one of Ugarit's most prominent traders, kept meticulous records. 650 clay tablets found in the ruins of his house. Letters, contracts, trade records, and then, in the final years, something different. Polite requests for help turning into desperate pleas. A single word appearing again and again in the tablets. Biru. Hunger. The king of Ugarit, a man named Amurapi, sent a letter to the king of Cyprus. It survived. It reads, "My father, behold, the enemy's ships came here. My cities were burned. They did evil things in my country. Does not my father know that all my troops and chariots are in the land of the Hittites? All my ships are elsewhere. The country is abandoned to itself. May my father know it." No help came. Another letter, found in the same ruins, was written by officials after the city had already been attacked. The army was humiliated and the city was sacked. Our food in the threshing floors was burned, and the vineyards were destroyed. Our city is sacked. May you know it. May you know it. That last phrase, may you know it, repeated twice, as if they needed someone, anyone, to understand what had happened to them. And then, one final letter, found still in the kiln where it was being fired. A desperate message begging for military help, describing enemy ships on the coast, cities already burning. It was never finished, never sent, never answered. Because while the letter was still in the fire, the city was destroyed around it. Ugarit was never rebuilt, never reoccupied. A city frozen mid-sentence. A civilization caught in the act of dying, preserved in that exact moment by the disaster that killed it.
These are the last Hittite records. The archives end around 1180 BC. No final letter. No explanation, just silence. An empire that ruled for centuries ended mid-sentence. The Hittite Empire fought Egypt to a standstill. They negotiated the world's first peace treaty. And then, in one generation, they were gone so completely their own neighbors forgot they existed.
What happened to Ugarit happened everywhere. The Hittite capital of Hattusa, a city so powerful it had fought Egypt to a standstill and negotiated the world's first peace treaty, was sacked around 1180 BC and never fully reoccupied. The Hittite archives end there. No final letter, no explanation, just silence. The Hittite Empire, which had been one of the two greatest powers in the world for centuries, ceased to exist. Not weakened, not reduced, gone. Completely and permanently erased from history within a single generation. The Mycenaean Greeks collapsed so completely that the Greeks who came after them had forgotten they even existed. When later Greeks found the ruins of Mycenae, they assumed giants must have built walls that large. The civilization that built them, the one that had inspired what would become the Iliad and the Odyssey, had vanished so thoroughly that its own descendants had no memory of it. And writing disappeared.
Ugarit is gone, built for thousands of years, destroyed in one night. And it was never rebuilt, not once, not ever.
So what caused it? Historians have been asking that question for over a century, and the honest answer is, we still don't fully know. Drought, famine, the sea peoples, earthquakes, internal rebellions, trade network failure, every theory has evidence supporting it. Every theory has evidence against it. Most scholars today believe what happened was not one cause, but a systems collapse, a cascade of interlocking failures where each new disaster made the next one worse. Think of it like this. Imagine a world where every city depends on trade for the materials it needs to survive. Drought hits one region, famine follows. Desperate people move, some of them raid. Those raids disrupt trade. Disrupted trade cuts off the tin and copper needed to make bronze, the material that everything from weapons to tools to farming equipment was made of.
Armies can't equip themselves. Kingdoms can't defend their borders. And one by one, like dominoes falling in sequence, civilization after civilization fails. Each collapse making the next one more likely. Each city that falls removing one more support from the system holding everything else up. The Bronze Age world was the most interconnected civilization that had ever existed up to that point. Its greatest strength, the trade networks, the diplomatic ties, the shared economy, became its greatest weakness. When the system started to fail, every kingdom that might have helped was already failing too, and there was no one left to answer the letters.
These walls are so massive that later Greeks thought giants built them. They had completely forgotten that their own ancestors did this. That is how total the collapse was.
3,000 years later, the unfinished letter from Ugarit sits in a museum, still asking for help that never came. The civilization that wrote it built ships that crossed the Mediterranean, created art and poetry and law codes, and had been standing for centuries before it vanished. In 50 years, it was gone. So completely that for 3,000 years, most of the world had never heard of it. What destroyed the Bronze Age world was not a single catastrophe. It was a system so interconnected and so fragile that when it began to fail, nothing could stop it. The first globalized civilization in history discovered what happens when globalization breaks down. Some historians look at what happened in 1200 BC and then look at our world today. Its interconnected supply chains, its global trade networks, its interdependent economies. And they see something uncomfortably familiar. The Bronze Age kings thought their world was permanent too. If this changed how you think about how civilizations end, drop it in the comments. I read every single one. And if you want more stories where history is nothing like what you were taught, subscribe, because we're just getting started.
This tablet has been waiting 3,000 years for someone to answer it. The city that sent it, gone. The civilization that wrote it, gone. But the message survived, because the disaster that destroyed it, preserved it. 3,000 years ago, every civilization on Earth collapsed, and nobody saw it coming. If that story stayed with you, subscribe, because next time we're going somewhere even more unexpected. I'll see you there.